Alright, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mass Ranker back again with another ranking, and tonight we are doing a ranking for the Arrested Development characters. As usual, you know how this goes. I just did the review for Arrested Development, and so now we are doing a ranking for the characters. I have the names pulled up here, and let us just begin. So starting off with Anne, I would say D/F tier. In the show itself, like, they don't really care about her. The whole joke with her is that, like, Michael never, like, it's someone that just George Michael starts dating, and Michael just never really cares for her, always forgets about her, doesn't really like her as well. And yeah, she's just, I don't know, kind of weird. She's like, she starts out dating George Michael, and then she's like super religious and stuff, and then she starts, then they break up because, I forgot why they broke up, but she ends up breaking up with him, and then she starts dating Job, and I think she's underage, so that's kind of weird, and then Job ends up not wanting to marry her, and then he like pulls some sort of trick. There's another, like, I mentioned this in my criticism of the show itself, where it's like very confusing, like the progression of all the characters and stuff. I recommend just watching my review for the show itself, like, before watching this video, maybe, because you might get my thoughts a bit better on, like, how I feel about the actual show itself, which might help you understand, like, the struggle that I might have in this video, like, describing each character and stuff. So I would say D/F tier. I don't really care for her. She's pretty forgetful. Like, the show makes that pretty explicit itself. So yeah. Anyway, Anyang, I did not really care for him. He's just another. Here we go. Anyang. He's just kind of, the Blue family adopts him, and then they completely forget about him. I will say this. I guess I liked the joke that they did with him, like in season 4, I think it was, or maybe it was season 3. I can actually check here. Let's see here. It says, where is he? We should say Anyang. He should be one of the, where is he? Here, Anyang Bluth, yeah. So yeah, he was a recurring character in the first season, and then he shows up again in the up until the 4th season, and then in the 4th season, that was I think they revealed that, like, he joined the Bluth family for the purposes of getting revenge for, like, his father or something, or maybe his grandfather, probably his father, that put the original banana cart out of business and stuff. So I guess for that sake, I would give him, like, D tier, probably not F tier, but we're doing this, by the way, we're doing this, I guess we'll do a group style, maybe at the end we'll do side style, so yeah. This is Argyle, and I don't really care for him. He's just, like, he is the brother of Lucille Ostero, and he is the leader of, like, the gay mafia, and he just kind of threatens Job, and he tries to put on a Fantastic Four musical with Tobias, and that's it. So I just didn't really care for him too much. He's not on the show that much, and so yeah. Barry, okay, he's one of my favorite characters probably in the show, and I would probably, I guess we'll do this, we're going to do this media context, not overall context, so I would give him, like, S tier. I think he's an S tier character in the context of the show. Definitely a fun character, and just every scene, here we go, every scene with him is just enjoyable. He's always, like, speaking, he's not a great lawyer, but he's still a funny one. He's always helping out the Bluth family with their predicaments, not always giving the great advice, sometimes giving very good advice, and overall, just, like, helping out whenever they need help, and just a very fun character overall. So definitely one of my favorite characters in the show. Buster, at first, I didn't really like him that much. Like, Buster, he just kind of came off as, I don't know, just not that. His whole thing was, like, he kind of, I don't know if he's like, he was pampered as a child, or he has like some sort of developmental issues, like maybe he's autistic or something, which, not the reason I don't like him. I didn't like him at the start. Just he kind of was, I don't know, he just kind of. He felt a bit too childish for me, maybe, and then, but as the show progressed, he actually became one of my favorite Bluth characters. Like, he loses his hand, he ends up joining the military and stuff. He always has the most interesting stuff going on with him. So I would say, I'd give him, like, I guess we're doing this in show context, so I'd give him, like, A tier, I guess. So yeah, compared to some of the rest of the characters, I would say he is an A tier character. Definitely the best character that I think got developed throughout the show. So yeah, Carl Weathers, don't really care for him. I think he's just kind of, like, scamming Tobias out of his money when he shows up. So, like, this is me rating not the actor himself, but just, like, I mean he plays himself in the show, but his role in the show, I just don't really care for the actor himself. I don't really have too strong opinions on. So these are the cops. They show up a lot in the earlier seasons, and then they end up in the later seasons, in, like, season 4 or 5, I think they just end up disappearing. Don't really know what happened to them, but they're the cops. I think they were kind of tied into the what was her name? Maggie, I think her name was. Let me see. Yeah, Maggie Lizer. I think they were. Maggie was acting as, or maybe I think someone was acting as a surrogate for. Yeah, I think the person that Maggie was representing was acting as a surrogate for them because they wanted a child. So they were fine. I give them like C tier. They're not the most memorable, but they every so often they would. I think they would beat up Oscar or George Bluth Sr. So yeah, I didn't, a bit more memorable than, not more memorable, but I guess a bit more entertaining than some of the D/F tier characters. Debris, I don't really care for her, really. She is just kind of, I don't know, she's just someone that Tobias just ends up meeting, and then Tobias doesn't really, like, maybe falls in love with her. I don't know, they're never really clear about Tobias's sexuality in this show, so he's, like, gay, but then he falls in love with her, so maybe he's bi, and then, she's, like, a drug addict, and then I don't really know initially what he's drawn to her about her, but then they end up kind of like they're together, and then by the end of the show, it's like she ends up leaving Tobias with his son or something like that. So I don't know, don't really care for her too much. This doctor guy, I would give him C tier just because he has like some funny jokes every time he ends up showing up. He basically just delivers like he says like, everything's all right, and then they go see Buster, and then it's like he lost his left hand, so he's has only the right hand left, and he's always saying stuff like that, like you're too late or something like that, it's over, and then it's like, but then he always makes it sound like something really drastic happens or something really good happens, and then he's misrepresenting the situation. So they honestly, one of the best moments in the show is like when he says that, and then they realize like what he did, and so I think Job and like Lucille, they get really pissed at him, and they're like, what is wrong with you and stuff. I thought that was a great reaction. So this guy, I think his name was like Andy Richter, right? Was that his name? Should be here. Yeah, Andy, Donnie, Emmett, and Rocky Richter. I think it's Andy Richter. Maybe, I don't know if his brothers are on the list here. So maybe I don't think so, not from what I see initially. Actually, here's one of them. But yeah, I don't care for either of them really. I'm going to just put them both here now because they are just, I don't remember anything they did. They just kind of showed up every now and then in the show. I don't actually remember the role in the show that they played. I think one of them was like a teacher, one of them was like a stuntman, another one was just a celebrity that the Bluths would have go along with whatever plans they had every now and then. So yeah, Dusty, didn't really care for him. He shows up towards the end. His whole thing was like he was a surfer and he was like a hobo kind of guy, and then Lucille for some reason kind of falls in love with him, and then he ends up kind of representing them in court towards the end with Buster. He tries to like act as Buster's defense in court, and then he has some weird mother complex, same as Buster. So yeah, don't really care for him too much. D/F tier. This guy, he is the terrible doctor. D/F tier. He's not really in the show too much. He is like in I think like, I don't know, 1 or 2 scenes back in whatever season he was from. I don't even remember his name, but yeah, don't really care for him. D/F tier. Franklin, I like Franklin. He was pretty entertaining. D/F tier. I'll give him B tier. He's not in the show too much, but when he is, the jokes are funny. The song that Job sings, like, it's not easy being white. It's not easy being black. Yeah, very, very entertaining. All the Franklin bits. Yeah, great. Gene Parmesan, I will give him, I'll give him B tier. I like him only for the purposes of, I do like every time, Lucille's reaction to him every time he shows up. It's always fun where it's like she like gets all like excited and happy, and then she like says Gene and stuff. So I like him for that reason. Other than that, the character himself, he kind of just, I don't know, does detective work every now and then, but yeah, he's fine, not great. This is the Warden, don't care for him really. I think he just like, I don't know, he wanted to be a screenwriter or something, and so he works with Tobias. By the end of the show, he like testifies against the Bluths, basically saying how Lucille or Buster, one of them like murdered someone, and he was basically going against them in order to work with Ron Howard. So don't care for him. George Sr., they focus him a lot. He's like a big focus in like the first few seasons, as well as like the 4th season, I guess. In the 5th season though, he's not too big of a focus as he was earlier on. But I would say he is, compared to some of the rest of the characters, I give him like, I wouldn't say he's like S tier in context, but yeah, I'll say like A tier. He is a good character, one of the more interesting Bluths, like at the start where he's like in prison and stuff. So it's interesting. He's like this very morally bad character, pretty much. He's like doing a lot of illegal stuff, and then but then it's revealed that like a lot of the stuff he did was actually not his fault. And yeah, he's fine. The actor himself, I heard, like had some allegations, so this is not a endorsement of, this is not anytime it's like, I think I mentioned this before in the past, but anytime I'm doing these like character rankings, it's solely the character. It's like not an endorsement of like the actors or anything. So yeah. But yeah, I think that the character of George Sr. was A tier. George Michael, I liked him at first, like in the first few seasons, but then I don't know what happened. Like ever since the Rebel plotline, it's like I just didn't really care for his character that much. I'll say this: when season 4 ends with like George Michael punching Michael in the face, and then I think season 5 kind of picks up there, and the change is like really drastic. It's like George Michael looks extremely like much older in the shot, which makes sense. But I don't know, just pointing that out. And George Michael himself, I thought like he was fine in the first few seasons, and then in the 5th season, I don't know, just the whole thing with like fake block and Rebel and all that stuff, I just didn't really care for that much. So I'll say B tier overall, but definitely one of the characters that as the show went on, he kind of got worse for me. So Job, he was like consistently, like I think I liked him more so in the earlier seasons. He's always like tied up in his magic and stuff. He's like one of the stupider characters in the show, and he is very. I think Will Arnett like is a good performer and stuff. He's a entertaining, charming actor. So I think the character of Job is also entertaining and kind of charming. So, but even so, he's like I don't know. I never thought that he never felt as great as I felt like he could have been. So I'll say B tier, I guess. Also fine. Yeah, honestly, so I'm surprised. Like I liked him a lot more than Buster when the show started. But by the time it got to the end of the show, I kind of liked Buster more than Job. So this is Love Herbert, I think his name is. Yeah, Herbert Love. So Terry Crews, good actor as well. The character's not that, I mean, he's an important character in the show, but I think he's just in season 4. We don't really see him after that. So he's fine. Just some guy that, he's a politician that the Bluth family needed to convince to build a wall or stopping to build. I think it was actually they needed Lindsay to get him to not build a wall, and so Lindsay kind of just seduces him and then sleeps with him and stuff, and I don't think it ends up working out, but yeah. This is, I forgot his name, it's like John Beard, something Beard, I think it was, let me see here. Yeah, John Beard, he's a reporter, I don't remember, it was never funny with him really, I don't know, it felt like his scene should have been funnier. He reminds me of like I remember in Pitch Perfect, in the Pitch Perfect movies, there were like reporters that would report all the time, and he reminds me of them, but like, that's what I wanted from him, and then they didn't deliver what they did in the Pitch Perfect movies with those reporters in the Pitch Perfect movies. So if they had gone with something more like that, I think he would have been a better character, but just he wasn't, so wasn't that memorable or entertaining. Kitty, I would say Kitty is, I don't know, C tier just for the sake of like, I guess it was usually entertaining, whatever was going on with her, but her character herself is not that great, not that interesting. She's like a pretty prominent character compared to some of the rest, but I don't know, she's not as memorable, so yeah, C tier, fine. I didn't hate her character, but I didn't really like it either. So this is, I forgot his name, but he was the guy that was I forgot his name, but he was the one that was acting as not the surrogate. The surrogate is like not the right word, I feel like, but maybe it is surrogate. I'm not sure. But the guy that was basically George Senior like couldn't get to meetings and stuff, even though I think a lot of the meetings would take place in their own house. And so he would show up in George Senior's place instead, and he would just basically, he was like talking for George Senior, and yeah, and he had a camera here so that George Senior could see what was going on. So I enjoyed it. I thought the bits were funny. Honestly, A tier, I would say, maybe even S tier. I'll be generous. I'll say S tier. So yeah, I thought that they were. He was entertaining. I know the actor. The actor is named. I forgot the actor's name, but I don't remember this guy, but. I can't find him at the moment, so yeah, but he is definitely, and I would pause it now just to like try to find out what his name is, but I don't even know what I would look up to find that out, like who was the surrogate for George Senior. I feel like that wouldn't give me the result that I want. So anyway, Lindsay, I thought that she was one of my least favorite Bluths. I'd give her like C tier, honestly. Like she was fine in the first few seasons, and then she completely disappears. She's like the only Bluth that just completely disappears in the second half, in like the first half of season 5, and then, the second half of season 5 she disappears, and then she only shows up towards the end. And season 4, she was fine, I guess, but I don't know, she just never was as interested. She just had like a bad relationship with Tobias, and that was pretty much it. And she was greedy, I guess. Yeah, similar to a lot of the other Bluths, she was greedy. She had a bad relationship with Tobias. She wasn't a great mother and stuff. And yeah, I don't remember a lot of. She just wasn't as great a Bluth as a lot of the other Bluth characters in the show. So This is Bob Loblaw, and D/F tier, didn't really care for him. I don't remember, like, he's a character that I think they mentioned like here and there, but I don't really remember him being too entertaining or anything like that. So I think Lindsay at one point tries to sleep with him. So I really have nothing to say about him because he is just a very. I think I remember scenes being fine, but just he's so unmemorable that I'm just giving him D/F tier. This is Dusty's stepmother, and I don't care for her either. She is just kind of at the end. I think they wanted Dusty to defend Buster in order so that she would get so so surprised by that, or like what's the word, shocked, flustered, I don't know. And then so she would declare a mistrial, but then she ends up being like very fine with it, and she actually helps Dusty to like go through with like his defense that he has to give. So I didn't care for her really. D/F tier. Lucille Austero, I give her like B tier. Yeah, I'll go B tier. Honestly, she was fine. She was a pretty important character, like one of the most important characters in the show. Really, she doesn't show up at all in like season 5, as well as I think it says season 3. She doesn't show up either right here. Lucille Austero recurring in the first 2 seasons, and she doesn't show up in season 3. She shows up in season 4. She was fine. I thought like sometimes her stuff was entertaining. I don't really like how much emphasis they put on the character like towards the end. It felt like the show was like leaning way too much into this whole thing of like her disappearance and stuff, which I didn't really care for that much. But I thought that the character herself was B tier, I'd say. This is Lucille 1, not Lucille 2. This is Lucille Booth, and I would give her probably like A tier, I'd say. She is. The only thing holding her back is there are times where she is just like a bit mean for the sake of being mean, which is a lot of her character, but even so, I think that she was one of the more entertaining characters, I'd say. I liked a lot of her schemingness, and it is revealed like at one point that she is the one that is kind of the mastermind behind the Bluth Company and stuff, and I thought that overall she is a fun character, and anytime that she had scenes, it was usually entertaining, I'd say, so A tier. This is Lupe and D/F tier. I think she only shows up in like the first she was in the 4th season. When was she in the 4th season? I don't remember that at all. But she's in like the first 3 seasons, which I completely don't remember. But she's a very forgetful character. I remember like the only thing I remember with her really was like I remember she would help out with the Blue House. She was like the maid and stuff, and she would get mistreated by Lucille. And I remember that the plot where this wasn't even her, but I remember Michael was supposed to pick her up, and then he accidentally picks up the wrong Latina woman, and then the woman thinks that she is like. She just got kidnapped by like a murder or something because Michael ends up talking on the phone, like saying all this like psychotic stuff. So, yeah, maybe I would say, I don't know, maybe I'd give her like a C tier. Honestly, I thought that she was also one of the weaker Bluths. Her whole thing was like at one point she just became a movie producer, and then a lot of her character was just like scheming against her parents or just BSing her way through stuff, which was fine, but it just got a bit stale after a while. I just didn't really care for it too much. So, yeah, C tier, not really one of my favorite characters. Maggie, I like Maggie. I thought that she was fun. Honestly, out of all the characters that Michael could have ended up with, I was thinking that she would have probably been like the best one. It felt like they had the best chemistry together. I'd give her not S tier, but I'll go A tier. Like she doesn't show up enough to give her S tier, but neither does this guy. So maybe I don't know. She's a bit like I don't know, just I'm not thinking S tier, I'm thinking A tier for her. So she was fun though. She was she was pretending to be blind, and then she pretended to be pregnant and stuff, and then she had good chemistry with Michael, which I thought was good. She's who's your actress? She was in Seinfeld. She was let me see her. Julia Louis Dreyfus. Yeah, so she is a good actress, and I thought that she was once again good chemistry with Michael. All her lying and stuff. It was interesting of how I like the scenarios that would come from it, and yeah, I enjoyed. It was interesting because I think in one of on the next Arrested Development, in one of those parts at one of the final episodes, they do reveal that like she's not blind. So I'm surprised that they would do it there instead of like in the actual next episode, which is when they also end up doing it. So weird that they would just spoil that. So, but yeah, I liked her. I thought that she was a good character, A tier. This is Mark. I forgot his last name. I think there's a few Marks in this show, but they called him Marky, and yeah, Marky Bark. Played by Chris Diamantopoulos. Yeah, I like this actor. He's a pretty good actor. I would give him the character himself. I don't know. I didn't really, honestly, D/F tier. I like the actor, but I think the character's he had like face blindness, so he couldn't recognize faces, and he was just like a hippie, I think, something like that. Like he didn't believe in capitalism and stuff, and he wanted to made makeshift bombs a lot of the time, and I didn't really care for it. Like Lindsay just ends up falling in love with him. I think he was the son actually of a person that Lindsay, like a protester that was trying to save a tree in one of the earlier seasons. So, but even so, I just didn't really care for him that much. This is Marta. She was the one from is she here? Let me see her. I can't find her, but I think this is Marta. I think that was her name. It should be a recurring character in one of the first few seasons. Her name is Marta, right? Am I getting that wrong? Is it not? Yeah, Marta Estrella, yeah. She was the one that she caused a lot of the drama in season 1 between, I guess, Job and Michael, where she was dating Job, and then Michael, like, fell in love with her, and then she kind of fell in love with Michael, and then there was a whole thing there. I forgot what ended up happening to her, honestly. I think Michael ended up, like, confronting her with incorrect information, and then that caused her to leave. And maybe Michael just didn't end up wanting to go through with the relationship because he thought it would hurt Job or something like that. I don't really remember what happened to her character, but yeah, I didn't really, like, she was a fine character and a fine source of drama, just because of the fact that she's one of the most unmemorable characters in the show. D/F tier. Michael Bluth, I'm gonna give him, like, honestly, he's the main character, but even so, I'd give him like a honestly C tier. He was one of my, like, least favorite Bluths because he's put so much emphasis on him, so much focus on him, and he just keeps making the same mistakes over and over. Of, like, he's trying to, like, save the family, and he's lying to his son constantly. He's, like, honestly, out of all the family members, it's like all the other ones, they lie, but it's like they're meant to kind of be, like, morally not great characters. But Michael Bluth is, like, they kind of, like, portray him as trying to be, like, this good character that's, like, trying to save the family constantly. But even so, he's, like, constantly just lying to his son and stuff. And yeah, to be fair, I guess a lot of the other characters lie to him as well. But even so, just, I don't know. I think Jason Bateman, he is right. That's Jason Bateman. I don't know how I feel about him as an actor, honestly. Like, I think he's in a lot of good projects. I think, like, he was in Air, and I remember that was good. Besides Air, like, he voices Nick from Zootopia, so I think he's like I don't know. I never really thought he was like I guess as an actor he's fine. It's just I never found him, like, he's not really one of my favorite actors or anything. Like, I don't know. Just his performances, I guess, never really. He's a very, like, straight man character, I guess, like the one that, like, calls out people's BS, like, says, like even in the movie Air, like, which I reviewed this year. He said that he was as well the character that was like, you're being stupid, like, you're not being realistic and stuff, like, so he plays a lot of those types of characters and stuff. So I didn't really, honestly, as a main character, he just didn't really work for me too much. Just a lot of the time, especially in season 4. In season 4, when he started, like, getting involved with, like, Rebel and stuff, and like, staying in George Michael's, like, dormitory and stuff, that was some of my least favorite parts of him as a character. So yeah, honestly, C tier. I'd have to give him. This is Murphy Brown. Didn't care for him. D/F tier. He's apparently, like, just a random bastard son of Tobias's that just comes out of nowhere, and he just is part of the show, like, from season 5, and didn't care for him at all. Oscar, I would give, like, I don't know, B tier. I'll be generous with it. I'll give him B tier because I like the scene. I like when he was, like, protective of Buster. There was, like, one scene where where Lucille was recommending that she said something about, like, sacrificing Buster or something for, like, the wall that they were planning to build. And then Oscar was like, no, I wouldn't have it. Like, it would kill him. I wouldn't have it. And then she was like, I'm talking about Job. And he was like, oh yeah, sure. So I do actually appreciate how he's, like, a caring father and stuff. I forgot what happened to him, like, at the end of the show. It's like, I don't remember. He ends up just, like, leaving Buster at the police station because he just, like, after realizing what living with Buster would be like, he's like screw that, and then he just never appears again. So I felt like his character was just kind of meant to be so that we could just see more of George Bluth's character, because George Bluth, like, especially in season 1, it's like they kind of his character is in jail a lot, so I feel like they wanted to show more of the actor, but they just didn't know how, so they ended up like creating the second character that they could have when George Senior wasn't around. So yeah, I give him, like, B tier. Rebel, didn't really care for her. She's just like I didn't care for at all her plotline. It was one of my least favorite ones in the show, where it's like Michael starts dating her, but then George Michael also starts dating her. So it's just this confusing not web of lies, but, like, just a lot of lies going back and forth between each other about about, like, information that they have, like, about who knows what and stuff. And it's just I didn't really care for any of it, as well as, like, how the Ron Howard stuff tied into it. So yeah, I didn't really care for her. This is Michael's, I forgot her name, but she was a girlfriend of, was her name Rita? Was that it? Yeah, I think her name was Rita, yeah, so she was another girlfriend of Michael's that was, like, what's the word? mentally slow, I guess. So she was, yeah, because of that, they had, she was just dating Michael for a while, and then he ends up realizing, because she's British, like, it kind of masks her, I don't know what the term would be, it kind of masks her condition, I guess. So because of that, yeah, I didn't really care for it too much. Just another one of Michael's relationships that doesn't end up going anywhere. Ron Howard, this guy, he's the narrator of the show, so I'm kind of rating this as both the narration and the actual character himself. The character himself I didn't care for. As the narrator, I give him, like, he was a decent narrator, so I'm just going to balance it out, say C tier. The character himself just felt kind of cynical towards, like, Michael at a lot of the opportunities, just, like, not really, I don't know, just, he would basically, he only wanted, like, the life rights of Michael's family, and that was it, basically, and then he was kind of, he got upset at Michael, like, anytime Rebel would get involved, and then we saw him a bit, he interacted a bit with George Michael, but overall I just didn't really care for the character. The narrator, him as a narrator, I thought was, he was a pretty good narrator. There was some, like, good narration moments. I thought, honestly, I didn't know how I felt about the narration, but as the show went on, at some points it felt a bit excessive, like, okay, we don't need, like, constant narration always, but, you know, I never really hated it at any point, so I just say C tier. This is Sally Sitwell. I completely just don't really care about the character. I think she's just meant to be, like, a rival of Lindsay, and that's all, and then she kind of becomes a bit more prominent in the later seasons, but even so, I just don't care at all for her. So yeah. Stan Sitwell, this is, I give him, like, D/F tier. He is just a guy that, like, has a condition, he loses his hair a lot, and then he is kind of a rival to the Booth Company, and I think he tries to buy them out a lot at certain points, and then in the later season, he just ends up dating Baby's alter ego, Annette, and it was weird. There was, like, one post-credit scene, like one of those, like, on the next Arrested Development, where Annette, she ends up finding, like, some sort of, like, poster with a bunch of women with, like, X's on them, and then Lucille was one of them with, like, a circle on it. So it's like, I don't know, I felt like they were implying that, like, he killed her, so I have no clue what was up with that. But yeah, I would say I just, like, I want to know more about that, but other than that, I don't really care for the character. I think there was yeah, he just ended up in, like, a nursing home later on because I don't know, after, like, he just wasn't really part of the business aspect of the show. So Steve Holt, I will give him I don't know. I'm going to be harsh. I'm just going to give him D/F tier. He is probably a D tier character, but he is the bastard son of Job, and then he's kind of, like, in the middle of the show a bit, but then afterwards they kind of just, like, abandon him, and then he shows up a bit more, like, in the 4th season, where I think George Michael and maybe they end up going to Mexico, and he just kind of comes along for the ride because they're all, like, primos and stuff, all cousins, and so yeah, I feel really bad for him because, like, a lot of time he wants to, like, connect with Job, and then Job just doesn't really want to see him. So Tobias, I'll give Tobias, like, I'll give him C tier. It's just, he's a fine character at certain points. Like, I think he has some good moments and stuff, but just the fact that, like, he is just really so, you just keep on pursuing his, like, passions that are clearly not working out, and because of that, he just ends up in, like, these situations where I'm just thinking, like, this is clearly not working out for you. Why are you still trying to pursue this? And I get, like, he's trying to, you know, he does want to give up on streams and stuff, but it's like, he has a successful job. He can be, like, I just can't feel bad for him, like, any of the situations he gets himself into, because, like, he is clearly just forcing it on himself. He was, like, a successful psychologist and stuff, and then he just doesn't bother. Like, he wants to be an actor and stuff, and he just, yeah, I didn't care for a lot of the stuff, especially towards the end, where he's, like, living with his fake family of Debris and Murphy Brown, and then they're just kind of squatting in different places. That was, like, the worst part of his character, so definitely he was a character that at the start he was fine, you know, throughout the show he was, like, constantly fine, and then towards the end he, even in season 4, I think honestly in season 4 he was one of the better characters, but then, yeah, he just, well, I don't want to say one of the better characters because I didn't really care for any of the stuff between him and Debris, but there were some good moments, like the Catch a Predator moment, that was pretty good, so, and so, yeah, a character that was, like, fine throughout the show, but then as the show kind of went on, it, like, kind of faltered a bit. So Tony Wonder, Ben Stiller's character, I would say I don't know, D/F tier, another character that I just don't really care for that much. He was just he had this, like, rivalry with Job that ended up kind of turning into a friendship, which kind of led to a romance, and then ended with, I thought it was fine, like, they end the show with him, like, out of all the plot lines, they kind of chose, like, his to kind of wrap up, so, yeah, it's revealed, I thought the magic trick was pretty good, where it's revealed that, like, no, he was alive, as well as, like, Job was alive as well, so, and then they kind of at the end they kind of just agreed that like they'll stay friends or something like that. So yeah, I don't know really where that ended up at, but I'd say D/F tier. This guy, I don't remember his name, but I think he was a lawyer that was representing the Balutes for a time, and I forgot his name. Let me see if I can see here real quick. Was it Wayne? Was that his name? Yeah, okay, it was Wayne Jarvis. So don't care for him. He was like the very serious lawyer, and he just at times would try to. He was like kind of working against the Balutes at times. I just didn't really care for him. I don't remember this guy at all. I think he was some actor that I don't remember what he did, but he is, out of every character here, he is the one I remember the least. So D/F tier. And then finally this guy, he was just the one that was kind of trying to protect Rita from Michael, because Rita, like, she's mentally not all there, and so he was like trying to protect her, basically saying like you can't be with her. I think he was saying like you're going after her for money and or something like that. So yeah, just trying to protect Rita. Didn't really care for her. He didn't show up after like whatever season Rita was part of. So which I think was like probably season 3. So here we'll do side style, not for the D/F tiers because I don't care enough to do so. We'll do for the C tiers. Who was my favorite? I don't know. I don't want to. Who's my favorite? I'll go with Tobias, and then after Tobias, we will go with let's go Kitty, and then we'll go with the cops, and then we'll go with the doctor, and then we'll go with the narrator. Honestly, because the Ron Howard side of it, the narrator would go there, but then the Ron Howard side of it kind of brings it down. So we'll go with not him. He's probably Herbert Love is lower, but then who do I like the best out of these 3 Balutes? We will go with maybe, and then Michael. Sure. Honestly, not even Michael. Then we'll go Herbert Love after. Honestly, Herbert Love is kind of better than all 3 of these. So we'll go maybe, then Michael, then we'll go Lindsay, and then we'll go. The narrator's better than them, honestly. So and then for the B tiers, I would say let's go with. I'm not sure. We'll go Job. We'll say Job, and then we'll say Franklin, and then we'll say Oscar, and then Lucille Ostero, then Jean Parmesan, then George Michael, and then for the A tiers we will go with I don't know. We'll say George Senior, and then Lucille, and then Buster, and then Maggie, and then at the S tiers, I guess Barry, and then this guy. So. Yeah, that is my tier list of the Arrested Development characters. Honestly, a show where a lot of characters I just didn't really care for, and a lot of main cast that like I thought a lot of them were just like fine at the start of the show, and then as the show got on, like in the later seasons, definitely a lot of characters just went down in the quality for me. So, but yeah, overall, this is my tier list for the Arrested Development characters. So yeah, if there is any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, web series, anything that you want me to review or rank or compare rankings, it does not have to be media related. It can be anything. Leave it in the comments and I will maybe possibly check it out. But with that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So let's leave it at that.